Morning. I'm not going to talk about the game dev stuff. It's going well. The internet is back. Today I'm working on level editor. I wanted today to talk about tabletop role-playing stuff. There was a chat in a game Slack I'm in about tabletop stuff and how do you do tabletop. I'm currently doing a bunch of stuff with AI and tabletop. Because in the games company we don't want to use AI because it's ethical and there's so many concerns. But I do like to stay up to date with AI because it's a useful skill, and my first degree is in that, and I find you need to play with tools to learn what they can do. And one of the places I found that's really productive is actually in my role-playing games. So I've got this long-term habit of having a dictaphone at the table. A dictaphone like this is really nice because you set it down on the table, you forget about it, you record, and it gets good enough audio that you can listen back to the session. And I found that really helpful for prepping future sessions and stuff. And it's an old habit. I've used my phone, I've used tons of stuff, but I get an audio recording, right? That's where this whole story starts, is I get an audio recording. And the next most important step is I grab this called Whisper CPP. Now I used to all just process the transcripts by hand and take notes by hand, look things up when I forgot things. That's what the the audio recordings were originally for. This open model based on some weights released by OpenAI's Whisper, but it's been rewritten in C++, so it runs on anything. Smaller models, the tiny models, can actually do live transcription, and I'm actually building some tools around this for the future. But what I generally use is I use the turbo large V3 model, which can run on any gaming computer pretty easily. Make sure you build it with NVIDIA support. There are some pre-built stuff out there. There are some other tools out there. This is the one I use. I find it really good. You'll notice you have to convert the audio files into WAV files of a particular format for Whisper to run. So I have a little batch file that automatically converts whatever WAV files are in the folder to a numerical extension for like session 5, session 6, or whatever the campaign is, and the campaign usually has a prefix of oh, this is the Cyberpunk Red campaign, and it generates the transcripts. Then the transcripts look like, now the transcripts are going to be messy, it's going to have table talk, it's going to have game talk. The transcription rate is better with AI now than it is with a blind human pass. So normal human transcription, they do multiple passes because a blind human pass is I think like 90-something% accurate, like 92 or something% accurate. Forget, it's low mid-90s. The large AI models are above human transcription blind levels. Not above human transcription with multiple passes, but that's where it is. So it gets a pretty good transcription of everything. What it doesn't do, it's been developed, is a concept called diarization, which you usually need stereo audio for. If I was doing online games, I don't do online games, I would separate out the audio channels and I would diarize the transcription so I know who talked, because obviously it would make the AI's job a lot easier. But this already is a huge skill for me because I can search and I can go oh, when did they mention cyberware? And I can find all the places they mentioned cyberware. I then feed that into a variety of LLMs. I won't go through all the different processes. This used to be a lot harder than it is now. This is what I mean. It's nice to keep your hand in, because the context windows and the reasoning models like DeepSeek's really good at churning through these. Gemini's really good. The Claude V 3.7 model. First thing I'll ask it to do usually is I will ask it to make automated scene transcripts. So this is here are the things that happened in that order. Sometimes I have to nudge it. So for example, here you see scene 3 is ambush and combat. I have to say, put out all of the rounds of combat and what happened in there, so I get a bit more detail, because I need more detail for that kind of stuff, because that's usually who got injured and stuff like that. But I get this automated thing out of it. I also tell it to convert these to Obsidian links, which we'll get to in the next thing. But I can also, with the AI, with the LLM, sometimes I'll ask it specific questions by feeding it transcripts. I'll be like, give me all the locations that were mentioned in this session, give me all the NPC. Can you tell me about specific question that I'm querying. It's a really good natural language tool to basically dig that stuff up, and I always have the transcript to grep or go back into in case it's hallucinating. And this is the other reason why I sometimes use more than one model, because sometimes I find a model struggles. One of the things that's really nice about DeepSeek and things like that is, obviously, I always tell it I'm working in a fictional setting and it's a ttrpg, but sometimes the safety measures kick in and the LLMs go, I can't talk about that because that's horrible. And I'm like, yeah, it's fiction, we're playing, go away, you stupid machine. So I use different models and I double check the models with each other. But that's very easy, and as I say, you will either need to be running a local model or you will need some subscriptions probably for the large context stuff. For the free tiers of most of these things, you'd still get a lot out. It's still a massively useful tool for jamming. Yeah, as I say, I make sure it converts. Now, it used to be that I didn't use Obsidian. I used a bunch of custom tools, all built on Markdown as well, thankfully. But now that I'm trying to share my Obsidian database with my players, I wanted to make it a bit more friendly, or my notes with my players, I wanted to make it a bit more friendly, and Obsidian was very friendly. What I love about Obsidian is it's got like all these lovely graphing tools, and you can see sort of the connections towards everything. So like we've got the city map here, and we've got like a bunch of stuff we've imported, and it can do sort of table pull out stuff, and we can get like our locations and everything in here. Very, very handy. Big thing in my sessions is I have this concept called fluff, because I've done this since the 90s, where I try to get players involved, and I say, I will give you some extra XP, I'll give you a dice to reroll, I'll give you something mechanically if you bring something to the table. And I say to them, you know, draw me some art, make some music, write a little bit of fiction, do something for the campaign, and I will give you something because it makes my life as a GM. Now, I always prefer to get human art, but obviously you don't always have artists at the table. And I say to them, you know, sometimes a doodle is actually way better. But for getting the vibe and getting the theme, having AI generated art can be useful. So that's something I allow at the table. I do prefer human art, I do prefer doodles, and obviously we're not doing anything commercial with this or anything. But it's nice, right? Because people can be like, this is what my character looks like, and we can have discussions about their fashion and stuff. But then when I get fluff, now this is something I'm trying to get my players to do more of, I then feed it into AI and I say, hey, find all of the proper nouns and do the like linky link for me. But then what I'll also do is I will feed multiple markdown things, and I'll ingest multiple markdown things, and it's like, oh, name points of interest and da. And so this is really handy. Oh, we haven't defined the chrome bagels yet. Okay, we're going to need to define the chrome bagel. And then I've got some reference stuff for like medium pistol and stuff, so I can look this up. Stuff I've copied from rule books and things like that for my personal reference. So this is really handy, and this is a place where, I mean, I use a lot of traditional coding tools like templating and things like that, and I've got some scripts I've written myself, but obviously GMing is like, it's a lot of prep work, and it's low stakes. That's a big deal, that it's low stake. It's a good way for me to keep my hand in with, so like here's a screen sheet. So it's a good way for me to keep my hand in with all of the AI tooling. I find it's simplified my GM prep. It's made my note taking better. The whisper, the transcription is honestly 90% of the awesome of this flow. Actually, no, maybe it's 80-70% of the awesome, but it's the majority of the awesome in this flow, because I have a text transcript that I can now interact with code, and that was the start of the AIification of this tool pipeline, because as I say, originally it was just audio recordings for me to check, and this is the third campaign I've been using AI on. So yeah, I wanted to share that today. Generally the video game's going really well. Don't worry, we don't use any AI art stuff or anything in the video game, but I wanted to share this in the tabletop because some people were talking about it, and as I say, I find it's a low stakes way to keep my hand in with these tools and to test their limits, find their flaws, find their practical applicability, where they're good, where they're not good. Yeah, you know, it's like you can see a chisel, you know what a chisel looks like, but until you actually chisel wood on a frequent basis, you don't really appreciate, oh, that's why chisels got that, and why that's why you keep your chisel sharp, and that's why you want different chisels, and you know, you learn about the hardnesses of wood and everything. This is like learning about the grains of AI and stuff. So I found it really useful. Anyway, yeah, working on the game stuff today. Hope this is thing. Doodles.